Yo, 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 yo. It's the motherfucking Fade Podcast. One stop shop for everything TV, medium, film. I'm trying not to hear myself. Okay. No, it's because I'm hearing myself double here. This is all my fault, by the way. No, no, no. We are already live. Yeah, we're live. We're all the way in here. Yeah. Oh shit. Jesus Christ. It would help if you were also unmuted. I thought you were in studio for some stupid reason and unmuted your studio mic, but not your remote mic. We're off to a beautiful start here at the Fade Podcast.
Oh yeah. You start messy, it usually ends well if you try hard enough.
There you
go. So we're gonna put on a great fucking show regardless.
I like it. I like the energy. I like it. Yeah, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Let me see if I can turn this shit off because it's there. We go. Yeah, welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. The Fade Podcast, your one-stop shop for everything TV, media, and film related, along with any other goddamn thing we want to talk about. Come to you live and direct. The Proof Concept Studios. Yo, I am fucking. I need to get my shit together. Is the.
You need to do a bump of Coke or something.
I do. My yo.
Or a Red Bull if you're not, or a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Pick your advice.
Yeah. I don't think you need to go that hard, to do a bump of Coke. I don't think shit is that serious. I
wonder how often normal people just you go somewhere and let's say you're checking in at your flight, right? I wonder how often the stewardess or the pilot just did a bump of Coke and they're like, "Are you guys ready to fly?" Are you? How normal is it? You went to the dentist today. What if your dentist was like, "Yo, I've been seeing patients all day. I need to pick me up. Let's take this bump of Coke." And then, Tunde, listen, we're going to do a cleaning. We're going to do some basic maintenance here. And the whole time he's just in your mouth cleaning shit.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I'd actually welcome it because malpractice, that's an easy check. Right.
I need that blood test.
Yeah. Hopefully he doesn't fuck my shit up too much. But on the other side of it, I'm definitely coming into a large check, a settlement check, for at least 6 digits. We're at least doing 6 digits on that, right?
Before I pay this bill, I need to see your blood alcohol level. If not, we're still
blow into this real quick.
That is something I've always wanted to do. Is to just sue, not like a person, but like a company or like an organization of something, and I'll settle out of court. I'll settle.
Yeah. Why would we not? Right? Why would we not settle?
I'm not going to be like Amber Heard and fight the good fight and end up losing. Listen, no, just small payout. Okay, just pay off my student loans, my car. Give me a little bit of spending money.
Speaking of which, isn't that moratorium supposed to be ending soon? Yeah, for the student loan.
Yo, I hope they extend this shit another 12 years.
Yo, I was just talking to some other people about that, and I was saying, I was like, yo, they've extended it 3 or 4 times, right? What I feel like Biden's going to do at this point is just not extend it and then be like, guys, there's nothing we can do. Literally, everything else in his presidency, just be like, there's nothing we can do, guys. I know we've demonstrated that we literally can do this, and we've done it 4 times before, but we literally can't do it anymore. We just, our hands are tied. We can't do anything.
Even if there was something Biden could do, would he stay awake long enough to do it?
Probably not.
I was watching one of the press conferences, and he was reading the quote, the end quote. He was reading parentheses. Don't say this. Close parentheses. No, the fuck? He's literally just reading off a prompter. He's just a guy, but someone else is, pulling the strings. He's a puppet. There's a puppeteer.
Yo, but I think, to me, I don't blame him, man. It's we voted him in, did we not? You know what I mean? And I'm not
every
saying
president is a puppet too. All of them are subject to because the president, the office of the president, it's a 4-year job. You're a part-time employee compared to senators and congressmen who've been there 20, 30, 40 years.
Yeah, no. What I'm trying. I think you're completely right in that they're puppets. That's not what I was disputing. But Biden is a different breed than than the other presidents. And I would actually throw Trump in the same vein as Biden, because Trump, as much as we say Biden's got dementia and shit, I think Trump, there are some times I was like, yeah, even for your craziness, like, this isn't making any sense. You're just saying random things that aren't even tied together, dude. Or like how he couldn't, like, he was like grabbing his water by both hands and trying to, it's like, are you 5? What the fuck is happening here? Are you like, Jesus, did you just do some heroin or something? So like, but like, I think I say we voted him in because it's like we were that desperate to look like obviously Trump's a no-fly zone, for pretty much everybody, who is a somewhat reasonable person, right? Trump is just like, nah, we can't do that. That motherfucker's crazy. He'll just, he'll wake up and he'll just decide to do whatever the fuck he wants to do, right? But to look over at the other side, and I'm talking about this more about the primaries, to like have all of, we got Bernie Sanders, we got Elizabeth Warren, we got even, as terrible as he is, even like Pete Buttigieg and Amy, what the fuck was her name? Amy, I don't know, whatever the fuck her name was.
I know the name, like Beto O'Rourke and he made a short presidential run, didn't he?
He did very briefly. Yeah. It was almost as briefly as Kamala Harris's presidential run. In fact, I think those might have been the first two. I might be wrong about Beto, but I'm pretty sure Kamala Harris was like one of the first people to drop out of the presidential race.
Like, but first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, not even first round. It was the play-in. It was the play-in. Yeah. She didn't even make that.
Well, yeah, I get what you're saying, man. It's like Trump's presidency was like the crazy ex-girlfriend, right? You're just like, yo, that I can't believe I did that. And then afterwards, you're like, yo, I'm just fucking whoever. I'm gonna fuck that girl. I'm next person that walks by me. That's who I'm at. That's who I'm smashing. And then it's like, and then Joe Biden happened to walk by. You're like, you're the guy. Like, I pick you.
But that shit, we didn't have to though. We're getting too far into politics, but we didn't have to do it. We didn't, just like every choice we make about every 4 years we end up saying, oh my gosh, it's the better of two evils. But it's just like, we don't have to choose this. I don't understand why we
make the choosing mistake every 4 years. We make the same mistake. Yeah. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy, dude. What have you been watching lately? Let's start with that. I know we can do this week, next week. We could talk about I don't know if you watched Thor yet.
So I've not seen that. Yeah, so I'll give you the list of the shit. So I saw Black Phone in theaters recently, which was one of the. Yeah, it's this horror movie in theaters starring like Ethan Hawke and like some kids, young male and female actresses. Great movie. I don't like scary movies. Someone convinced me to go see a movie. I'm like, oh my god, like. It was either Thor or that phone or that movie. They're like, I really want to see this movie. So I'm like, fuck it, let's go. Mm-hmm. So we went. Movie was scary as shit, but great. Definitely one of the best scary movies I've ever seen. Scary to me, and for my taste of horror, I don't like weird, trippy shit and monsters and I like scary movies where it's like this could happen. These are like real people. And these are just crazy people. Like that's what I like. So there was like a lot of story there. There was great acting from the young male and female actresses. Ethan Hawke did a stellar fucking job. Great ending. Like I liked all of it. So despite not liking scary movies, like I really did enjoy this. Other than that, I've been watching The Boys, and then we're gonna get into that in a second. This show, it's hard not to like. It'll be like 11 o'clock, and I'm like, I need to go to sleep right now. I'm not treating myself well. I'm not treating my body well or my brain. Like, I need to get some rest. Yeah. Let's watch one more episode. Pour another glass of wine, watch another episode. Because I'm not going to watch The Boys and not drink wine. That's as who's the main guy in the show again? I forget his name.
Carl Urban.
Carl Urban. Is it? But that's his real name. What's his? Character name.
Fucking that motherfucking
he's like diabolical.
Oh, Butcher, Billy the Butcher.
Butcher, yeah. I'm like, oh, I can't not drink wine, and like I feel like Butcher's so cool. You kind of like imitate him a little bit when you're watching the show. He's my favorite character on the show. So
cool? Is Billy the Butcher cool? I feel like he is the embodiment of the what you might call toxic. Let me say this again for the people in the back because I know somebody's head just like fucking imploded when I toxic masculinity. I feel like he is the prime example of this.
I feel like he is bad cop, and he's like, if I have to be bad cop, I'll be bad cop. I'll do the bad thing, but like those motherfuckers are worse. And like you can't always fight good. You can't always fight evil with good. Sometimes you have to fight, essentially fire with fire, right? And so Butcher's like, I'm going to fight fire. I'm going to take this V shit. I'm going to fuck Homelander up. We're going to kill all these suits.
So let's save the conversation about the boys until a little later.
Sure, I got a lot of thoughts.
We can chop it up. Turn me down in your ears if you don't mind. I don't know because I'm hearing a little bit of feedback somehow, and I don't know. Yeah, I think it's there. You go. I think it's gone.
Turn you down.
Perfect. So
it's usually what I do anyway. Thanks for your permission this time.
Touche.
I had that one lined up.
Yeah. So what I'm watching right now, so I also watched The Boys. I finished that. And so I was looking for something to watch after that. I was like, yo, I need to get into something. And
the girls.
Okay. You are on fire tonight is what
I know, right? These are like easy layups, like just toss ups, just playing softball.
You got them written down and arranged lame jokes.
If Tunde says this, I say that. I'm like Joe Biden. End quote.
Parentheses. So I was looking for something to watch. And so I was like, you know what I've been meaning to do for the longest time now is go back and watch what some people deem as the greatest show of all time, Breaking Bad. Because when I first watched it, I watched it kind of quickly. And then on top of that, I didn't, it was so long ago. That was like almost 12 years ago. 12, maybe 11 years ago that I watched Breaking Bad all the way through. And so I had forgotten so much of it. And so I decided, you know what, and what I love about the Breaking Bad is it's a short series. It's a short watch, really. It's 5 seasons of about 10, 11, maybe even 12 episodes each. That is low commitment compared to some other series that, of its same nature, right?
Yeah, I admire you for like wanting to go back and rewatch things and like, hey, like how do I do this thing, or how do I watch this thing, and like how am I experiencing it differently now 10 years later than I did then. I think there's something in that. I want to better understand this thing that I love so much. I'm going to go back and rewatch it. I struggle with rewatching like any show because even if it's a small time commitment, 5 seasons, 10 episode seasons, it is still a time commitment. And it's like, do I dedicate the time to going back and watching like a cult classic, top 10 greatest show of all time? Absolutely, like Breaking Bad. Or do I find something new? Do I like explore a little bit? Because like as good as that show is, there's so many other like new shows that are coming out, and I struggle finding that balance of rewatching stuff and finding something new. I will rewatch old movies just because like sometimes I'm at home. I'm just like, I'm gonna pour a glass of wine and fuck it. I'm gonna watch The Last Action Hero or Rambo, First Blood. It's like shit I've seen 100 times. Blade. Shows it's hard for me to rewatch just because like that is not it's not just like a 2-hour commitment. It's like a 2-week, 2-month commitment depending on at what pace you're rewatching it.
Yeah, I get that. I think the thing is that there's 2 different ways of going about it, right? You can start to watch a show that you are very familiar with, and like, so for instance, you could put on The Office and just kind of like let it go and you don't really pay attention to it. It's just kind of on in the background, or you just have it on, just because. Or you can start a new show and have to like sit there and like actually, so it's like different time commitments, right? Like sometimes when I watch these older shows, it's like it's a lower time commitment because I don't have to pay as much attention because I'm already familiar with the material. If it's a newer thing, I feel it's incumbent upon me to pay attention to every detail, every nook and cranny of it, so I don't like miss something,
Got it. Okay, I do get that though, because it's like if you're rewatching a show you've already watched, while there is a time commitment to there, I want to rewatch all 5 seasons, but the amount of attention span that you have to pay throughout the course of like an entire episode is not as like if it's a new show, I'm watching every second, every minute of the show. If it's a show I've seen before, I could be texting or having a conversation or talking or just, cooking or whatever, and still not miss much because I've seen it before and still get to enjoy it.
Exactly. And that's what I've been doing with Breaking Bad is I've been kind of going back to watch and honestly, I'm so glad I did because I'm appreciating it a lot differently than I think I did the first time. And the reason why I think it's such a great show. So my partner even said, holy shit, like this is actually a really good show because like she would come in and like it would be in the middle of a random scene and she'd like be like kind of forced to just sit there for like however long the scene.
Oh, she's never seen it.
She's never seen it. And so she would just be like, just waiting to see how the scene ends, and it's like it's so interested because it's just the character development in Breaking Bad is just it's unmatched in terms of the only thing I think I can compare it to is The Sopranos in terms of building these characters, and what I would even argue is that Breaking Bad is way more focused than The Sopranos is as far as character building. That there is no fat with the Breaking Bad. Like there's from the first scene of the show to, and I haven't made it through the end, but to the last, man, there really isn't really any fat on the show. It's just every scene is integral to each character. Every scene that they're doing isn't just like a throwaway scene. It's all important to this layered texture that they're trying to build for these characters, and that's what ultimately drives the series. Is that it's not only is it a great sort of plot driven series, but it's a character driven series. And it's a real good combination of both. Anyways. But I'm glad I went back and watched it because what I'm picking up out of it is, you don't try not to start your relationships with a lie. And you'll have a much better time in life. I feel like, so not only from this show, but from a lot of shows that I've watched of late, it's just this common theme of just like, just stop lying. Just even if it hurts people, tell people the truth, and you'll have a much fucking easier time in life. Like it's when you try to hide shit or lie or do this or do that is just it becomes too much, man. And then you just you start telling lie on top of lie, and then you can't remember what fucking lies you tell, and as soon as you break somebody's trust, that's a hard thing to try to fucking get back, and to try to work towards in terms of rebuilding that trust. And it's never quite the same, when somebody really doesn't like trust you, and so that's the thing I'm getting out of the show is just, and I think what other show I've gone back and watched like another show where I was thinking essentially like the same thing of just like, this would be much easier if you just stop fucking lying all the goddamn time and just, even if you think you're going to hurt somebody, even if you think they're going to be mad at you, whatever the case is, just fucking tell them the truth and you'll have a much more relaxed time in life.
Yeah, listen, my ex-girlfriend told me that all the time. She was right. She was right. I don't know what she was right. But we move forward nonetheless.
Yeah, we press on. So let's talk about what's coming out this week. So actually this week, the movie Nope comes out. So Jordan Peele's
oh my God, I can't wait for this.
Can't you though? Can't you?
This movie looks great. The trailers are perfect.
Are they perfect? I still don't know what the fuck's happening.
You're not supposed to. Like, we don't know.
This is how they got me with Us. They got me with Us like this, right? Because we didn't really know what Us was about. And I was very underwhelmed by the movie Us. I thought Get Out was pretty good. I didn't necessarily care for it as much as everybody else did, but I thought it was pretty good. Us to me it was a true disappointment in terms of.
Was it disappointing in a sense of like you had really high expectations for it and like it didn't quite meet your expectations, or was it genuinely just a disappointment?
Well, it was a disappointment in two specific aspects. For one, I was promised a horror movie, and at best, I got a thriller. And then two, the movie itself, I felt like it actually did the opposite of what I was talking about, or not, maybe not the opposite, but it did it didn't do what Breaking Bad did well, which was character build. That it was an interesting plot.
That's true.
But the character build was just all over the place. And then I could even argue that even with the plot, they sacrificed some like logical shit with the plot in favor of just like, oh, this twist or this turn. And it's just like, but it doesn't make any sense. So you're just doing this, not because it makes sense to the story, but because you think this might be a cool thing to do, like, or an interesting thing to do, and I have zero patience for that, when you're just throwing something into the story just to have it there,
I love Get Out. I did like or enjoy Us. I really, really do have high expectations, and I do feel like Nope is going to be like, it's going to be fun. It's going to be like quirky. It's going to be like, the action, the scare is going to be there. Like, I have really good feelings about this film. Yeah. I've always been on the fence about Keke Palmer.
Yeah. I was just about to say, I'm actually looking forward to seeing sort of how she does in this.
Because I don't think I've ever seen her in this type of role.
Where do we know Keke Palmer from? Like, what's?
I have no fucking idea.
It feels like she's been around forever, but I have nothing to like. I don't know where I would know her from.
And I'm pretty sure Keke Palmer is like 40, so like she's not like, she's been around a while. I don't know where exactly I know her from, but like I've seen her on my TV screen many, many times throughout the years.
Yeah.
Good for her for like staying, like, you may not always be at the very top, but as long as you're staying like relevant and
I don't know, she's doing her fucking thing, dude.
She's doing her thing. I love it.
Isn't she hosting some series and all this other jazz? And also she was I guess she was Aquila in Aquila and the Bee. Am I getting that right?
I'm looking this shit up right now because we need to figure this. Like, where do we actually know Keke Palmer from? Like, is she even a real person? Just a figment of our imagination?
Yeah, Inception.
Let's see. Never mind. Never mind. She's not 40. She's born in 93.
Yeah, she's younger than you. Yeah.
I thought she was a lot older. Who am I thinking about? I'm thinking about the girl from Cousin Skeeter, I think.
Oh, Megan Good.
Maybe no. Was that Megan Good in Cousin Skeeter?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. I am. But Keke Palmer, we've seen her in a lot of stuff. So there's no she wasn't Hustler.
Speak for yourself. I don't know if I've seen her in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the stuff she's done here. She's done a lot of like voice work too. So she's not always on the big screen, but she's done a lot of voice work. She has like put out, I think, like 3 albums she's put out. So she sings as well. Who knew?
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, good for her. I think this role is great for her. In all of the trailers that I've seen for this movie, like, she is like the draw. I'm like, I want to see like what happens with her. Like, that character, she's like strong and interesting and fun, and I'm excited for it. When does it come out?
Friday, maybe even Thursday, I think. Of this week.
Definitely gonna go see this in theaters.
Yeah. Anyways, so that drops this week. Dude, what else has been going on out there in TV land? I've been out of commission. We know our schedule's been a little sporadic these last couple of weeks, but what else is going on in TV film world that's caught your eye?
You know what? To be honest, like, just like you, it's been difficult for me to sit down and like find one thing to watch or like start a new show. I've been a bit hesitant actually to start a new show because I'm like, Orain, you gotta grow the fuck up, start a new book, like balance the shit.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to steer away from watching as much TV or as much like continuous TV as possible. So like I may sit down for like 2 hours and watch 2 episodes of a show, but then I try and, all right, let me do some laundry. Let me clean up the kitchen. Let me like read a book. Let me switch over from a show and maybe like watch a podcast. Like I love I Am Athlete. I love The Pivot. I love Mike Tyson's podcast. There's other podcasts I watch with these guys from like Europe, and they talk about like relationships and things like that. So less watching shows and movies and more listening to like conversations and people. Started watching a lot of like financial podcasts, particularly talking about not just how to invest, but how to make your investments like work together and speak to each other. Like, how to open up like a life insurance policy and like use and borrow money from your life insurance policy to pay for your house, and then use the equity or the income from the house to pay for the like little things like that. I've really been focusing on those things more so than the next show or movie. So the only thing I've been watching really are like I've been watching a lot of National Geographic Channel. I'll just literally pour myself a glass of wine and be like, all right, let's watch this segment on buffaloes in the Northwestern Hemisphere, Washington and Oregon. And let's learn about buffaloes. I just watch that shit. Them buffaloes be cool as fuck. I'm not gonna lie.
That sounds boring, is what that sounds like.
Sounds like 30 plus. 30 plus and single.
Send me back down to my 20s. That sounds like...
Right?
That sounds
my 20s, I'm like, I'm going to jerk off and go to a bar. Why did I do that in that sequence? I don't know.
Well,
but
it makes sense. No. It makes sense to do it in that sequence.
When you're 22, you can't go to a bar.
You can't. That's a loaded gun there. That's a loaded gun. You gotta,
it's a weapon.
Yeah. You gotta take the clip out. You gotta take the clip out.
What have you been watching?
So yeah, like I said, I've been watching the Breaking Bad is what I've kind of dove back into. But in other news, Dune Part 2 starts filming this, or just recently started filming. Can't wait for that, man. Dune, the first one, I think it blew away all expectations because it actually met expectations, if that makes sense, right? So there were a lot of expectations put on Dune, because for one of the first Dune that came out, or I guess one of the Dunes that came out, famously from God, I always forget his name. What's the director? No. David Lynch. Do I have that right?
Yeah. Was the director?
Yeah, David Lynch. So he came out with a Dune movie all the way back in like the 80s.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
And it was very panned immediately. It was terrible movie. And so this iteration of Dune had a lot of weight on it because a lot of people, they love Dune, the book, and one of the most quintessential sci-fi, books, ever. And so it not only met those expectations, but it like surpassed it because it met them, because it was just that was, everybody was like, this is probably going to suck a little bit, but whatever, but it didn't suck. It was fucking awesome. It was so good.
And I get that too. It does make perfect sense because when you have you got to hit 20 things to get this thing right. You have 20 expectations. The casting has to be right. The story has to be right. It has to make sense on screen, but it's also got to follow the book. But it's also got to be maybe a unique perspective because I don't think people want to see it exactly like it is in the book because then what's the point? And then the music has to be right. The cinematography, the costume design, the pacing, everything has to go right. And if everything doesn't, that's where you see people pan the movie or trash it. Oh, I didn't like the costume design. Or this person was casted incorrectly, or this small detail isn't what happened in the book. And in this particular movie, again, I didn't read the book because fuck that. But everything that I've heard about this film,
just get done talking about you need to read more books.
Yeah, but I don't do sci-fi books. I'll do life lesson learning books or murder mysteries or whatever. I don't do whimsical sci-fi shit. But from everyone I've talked to who's read the books was yo, this is they got it right. There was a little bit of creative flexibility and creative freedom here, but they got it right.
Yeah. So anyways, the Dune Part 2, because basically they broke it up into two parts, and Dune is really it's a thick read, and there's a lot of things that go on to it. So it is no surprise that they cut it up into two sort of parts here. I think it was pretty wise. And so Part 2, and there was once upon a time they were planning to do both back to back. But then I think it was WB or maybe it was Warner Brothers that produced it. It was let's see how this shit does. But that also doesn't make any sense because it's how it ends. So it ends on a cliffhanger basically. And so it's well, why would you let them let it hang on a cliff or end on a cliffhanger?
Yeah, it's not wait too long.
Yeah, because you could just be in prime position. See, they weren't hedging their bets, right? They were playing it safe, and I would even argue that's not even playing it safe. But anyways, I'm very much looking forward to Dune Part 2. And
didn't they cast? Was it Florence Pugh who was also casted in Part 2? And there was another big addition to the cast.
Let's see here. Warner Brothers Legends has also confirmed returning cast headlined by Timothy Chalamet as Paul Atreides. The Oscar nominee was Zendaya, Rebecca Ferguson, Javier Bardem. Blah, 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 blah. The studio has also confirmed previously reported cast additions, which include Elvis breakout Austin Butler as the notorious Faid Rotha. I believe that's how you pronounce that. Christopher Walken as the Emperor. Florence. Oh, you're right. Florence Pugh. Leigh Seydoux. I think that's how you pronounce it. Seydoux. I believe it's French.
Yeah, they got Christopher Walken in the bitch.
Yeah,
let's go. Let me pre-order my ticket now.
Yeah, let's get it.
Love Christopher Walken.
He's gonna be so weird in it. He's gonna be
oh my god. I hope he doesn't change.
Yeah, it's just Christopher Walken.
Just his name in the movie should be Christopher Walken. He should play himself.
Yeah, I'm sure that wouldn't disappoint anybody. Actually, so yeah, man, we've got that to look forward to. In other news, so there has been a lot of talk recently, and I wanted to save this story for later, but I figured we'd talk about it now. I read a story recently about the woman who used to host Love Island.
I forget her name. I should know this like the back of my hand. Unfortunately, she did commit suicide.
Yeah, Caroline Flack.
Caroline Flack. Yes.
Yeah. So she committed suicide, but and obviously that's a terrible situation and it's really fucked up. Then I'm not sure how much of that had to do because I remember reading in an article that it seemed like she dealt with mental health issues pretty much her whole life, or at least her life in front of the camera. So I don't know how much of that you can put on Love Island specifically, but we're going to talk about a story a little later with Constance Wu that deals with her as essentially attempted suicide, and just like I think this is what fame. I think this is what the pressures of it does to people, right? Like some people can handle it fine, just like anything, right? Some people can handle it fine. Some people are kind of so about it, and some people really they're just not made for fame, right?
Yeah. Well, if I'm correct, I think she unfortunately committed suicide because she found out that her partner was cheating and being unfaithful, and it was that on top of the pressure of being constantly in front of the TV and scrutinized and ridiculed, and then you're also hosting a show where the show is a micro examination of your relationships, right? So it's hard for I would imagine it would be very hard for you to be that close to the show and see these people go through these like dramatic relationships, these recouplings, and 12 new people enter the villa, and then not take that home and overanalyze your relationship. And, maybe in a toxic way, maybe in a productive way, but usually it's in a toxic way whenever you're overanalyzing like that. So, man, I feel terrible because I watch UK Love Island. I love the show. I'm actually watching the new season of it right now. It's messy and it's great and I love it. And I used to always kind of criticize her. I'm like, I think she's not like the best part of the show. Mm-hmm. But now that I'm watching the new season, it's just like, fuck, I wish Caroline Flack was back.
Yeah. Yeah.
The new person is good, but like she had, there was something about her. It was perfect for the show. And it's just a really sad situation that she's not with us still.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the reason why I even brought that up was because there's, I feel like in any industry, right, there's pressures to perform and there's pressures, but I think that I've never really understood why people would want to be famous. I've never made no small, thing about it that I have no desire to be famous, right? I do have a desire to have work recognized, right, and to be properly accredited, in terms of like if you do something of note, to have that note recognized. But I don't know. I've never really understood the idea of people wanting to be famous, for myself at least, right? But I think that there's you got to recognize like the person that you are, you know, and I think that there are certain industries that you shouldn't get into if you know you're kind of on the fence about, you know, like like KD for instance, right? KD is a pretty sensitive dude, right?
Yeah, very.
He might have picked the wrong career to get into if you're going to be that sensitive about things, or if things are coming at you like that, and you're processing like that, because it's people will just say reckless things because that's what they can do, right? You're a famous person and they see you like you have high visibility, they have low visibility, so it's like, yeah, they can say whatever the fuck they want about you and not give two shits because nobody fucking cares what they, you know.
And that's the problem, right? There's no accountability. Like, you can get on the internet and say anything.
Yeah.
Like, I would love for the day to come when to have like a social media account, you have to be like, your identity has to be verified. Let's purge these like billion accounts that are just like troll accounts, unverified accounts, people with like no, with no like user profile, no name. And they're just simply using these accounts to talk shit online or just bash people or harass or attack people. Like, I really do hope there comes a day when there's like accountability on social media. Like, no, you have to have your account verified, first and last name, general location, not your like fucking home address, but like where you are, who you are, and like maybe even like a background check, right? I feel like that would so greatly change like how people use social media. And it would so greatly change how people hold themselves and each other accountable.
Yeah.
In a situation like with Kevin Durant, he is a sensitive guy. Like, he hears everything. He responds a lot on social media, more so than he should. I think statistically, this was from like 2019. He's made more tweets than he has scored points in his NBA career. Right. And that's like 30,000. So that's a fucking lot.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that just because you're sensitive, you're emotional, and maybe you do internalize criticism, that like you shouldn't be able to do your work without being constantly attacked for it.
Yeah.
I recently watched KD's interview. I think it was on, he sat down with David Letterman on And My Next Guest Is, and I gained a greater appreciation for him because he just seems like a regular chill dude who just happens to be like a Hall of Fame NBA player, one of the best in the league right now, who might be misunderstood, probably also a dick, but might be misunderstood.
Yeah, but I just don't I don't even see it as like a matter of, you know, whether he's misunderstood or not. It's what comes with the territory, right? Like, whether people understand you or not, or whether they get exactly what you're trying to say. Like, okay, so for instance, like the and we're getting a little bit off topic here, you know, because we started all the way on Caroline Flack and you know, her unfortunate suicide, but LeBron just made comments about Brittany Griner, right? Where he basically was just like, you know, he basically was just like, well, what the fuck is America doing, basically, you know, and having her still over there, you know, still stuck in Russia. And then he had to come back and like kind of walk those statements back, and it's kind of just like, why? Like, and obviously the obvious reasoning is sponsors and deals and yada yada, and you got to watch what you say because some people, you know, you're trying to cast the widest net, so you don't want to piss some people off, and so you got to. But it's just like, yo, at a certain point, man, you got to be a fucking human being, and I think that we demand for our celebrities to be both. We demand for them to be both human beings as well as complete robots who will say and do whatever we deem proper for them to say and do. And that's not human beings. Like, any one of these people who are online making comments about whoever, it's like, well, how would you want that same treatment for any belief or anything that you believe? Now, obviously, I really sincerely do believe there are some beliefs that are just stupid and dumb and, you know, should fucking go by the wayside. But to like look at a celebrity and just like, no matter what they do or say, you just constantly fucking criticize them.
Yeah.
it's just like, come on, man, you gotta find a hobby, dude. Like, go take up fucking bow hunting or some shit. Like, come on, you know. It's just I find it. I don't know. I just find it to be like just boring, dude. Just go fucking do something with yourself instead of just sitting on fucking Twitter all day and shooting shots at people who you know. And then what the craziest part is, then when they shoot shots back at you, like if they're KD and they shoot shots back at you, you're like, oh, I can't. But you took the time out of your day to respond to me. It's like, motherfucker, yeah. Like, how do you have the time?
Yeah, it's kind of like the people who so in like the most recent like Obi-Wan Kenobi on this was on Disney. Those who attacked the actress Moses Ingram, who played Inquisitor Reva. For you to watch the show and be like, you know what, I don't like her performance so much that I'm going to go on Instagram or Twitter. I'm going to find her Twitter account or her Instagram account. I'm going to DM her these like nasty, hateful things. Like, that's what I'm going to do with my time. There's been plenty of movies that I've watched where I've not liked a character or liked a show or liked someone's performance or whatever. I've never once thought to myself, I'm going to go attack that person on social media.
Yeah.
Like, I do have the time, but I do not have the willingness to just attack random people just because I don't like something. That's silly. If you really have that strong of opinion, then like go create something of your own. Go direct your own fucking movie. Go write your own fucking movie.
No, but most of these people, man, like, and I know that we're generalizing, we're just talking about some sort of atmospheric people, but like, you know, a lot of these people, they don't have the courage to go out there and actually put themselves out there and do something that is, it might, you know, it's going to be in the public eye, and it's going to be something that everybody can see and criticize, and most people don't have that actual same courage, but they will at the drop of a fucking hat criticize somebody who does have the courage. Like, could you like for all the people who say, you know, and again, I take no position in terms of the whole MJ, because I think the conversation's stupid itself, but the whole thing about MJ and LeBron. But it's just like, for the people who, if you can argue like, okay, one player is better than the other, yada yada, you can, fine. I think it's a stupid argument, but you can argue that, right? But where I really think it's dumb is when people then say like, oh, well, you know, LeBron's sorry, and it's like, well, how is he sorry? Like, how is he not a good basketball player? I don't understand. Like, multiple championships. He's statistically going to be leading pretty much everybody in every like major statistic scoring.
You can't be sorry by the time you retire, you're a first ballot Hall of Famer, you're a four-time
like,
champion.
How do you
lead almost not every, but like most statistical categories, like, and the ones that matter too. Not like, you know, played every game, always had his shoelaces tied. I mean, it's talking about the scoring leader, like the most points scored ever in the playoffs, like that kind of shit.
Yeah.
But, you know, everyone has their opinions, but not everyone's opinions are valuable. And that's what we need to like be very clear about. You're entitled to your opinion. It doesn't mean it's worth shit.
That's fair.
I feel like more people need to be told that, like, hey, you should shut the fuck up. I'm a firm believer. You should tell at least one person a week, nah, fuck you. It'll balance the equation.
Fair enough. So let's get into it, man. Let's talk about The Boys, man. Season 3 rather. Pardon me. Season 3 of The Boys is wrapped up, and it came and went all too quickly. Much like how, you know, I'm sure ex-girlfriends talk about you, but so I got that in. Zing.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah. That was great.
So season 3 of The Boys, I thought was just excellent. It's probably my favorite season thus far. It was a concise story. It was a focused story. It was interesting in terms of the different sort of. I thought season 2 not necessarily was like a step back, but I thought season 2 was a little bit meandering. Like it was just kind of like just wandering around, you know, a little bit. But season 3 was specific. It was airtight for the most part, I think, in its storytelling. And I loved the character building that they did with all of the characters. I thought everything that they did between like Homelander and Soldier Boy, I thought the whole father-son thing was a little hokey, but I love how like the last second swerve of just like you're a fucking disappointment. That was fucking awesome. Now it's interesting that I thought, and I'm just doing a weird, sort of a top down sort of conversation here, but like I'll let you sort of give your thoughts. Like, but I thought it was just weird how like I thought they were going to kill Soldier Boy but like him ending up just kind of being put on ice is just like I understand that leaves the door open for him coming back in the future, but like
it seems irresponsible to let this guy live.
Yeah, like like he literally tried to blow up like half the city, and it's just like we'll just sedate him. It's fine. Just give him some fucking roofies, or something like that, and he'll be all right.
Yeah, like, with minimal security too. I didn't see any like top level motherfuckers in there. It just seemed like they sedated him, put him in like a glass chamber, and then I was there. And then everybody goes home. Then an overnight security guard who falls asleep all the time. Like there's going to be a mistake made here somewhere.
They had the same crew there. The same emphasis that they put on January 6th was the same emphasis they put
those were the Capitol Police officers who are guarding this facility. Apparently anybody could get it. But no, this season 3 of Homelander, The Boys, I'm sorry. You're absolutely right. This was amazing. I think what they did a really good job about was making sure that each storyline like had purpose and like added value to the overall show. And like I cared about each thing that was happening. Obviously, Butcher had his reasons. Huey had his reasons. Then you got Starlight and you got Mother's Milk, who kind of has his own reasons. And the relationship between Frenchie and Kimiko, like I cared about all of it. Yeah. And even though I didn't like A-Train, you also kind of like see that this like tough position he's in.
I loved what they did with A-Train. I love what they did because they made it such a you thought it was going to go one way, it went the other. Then you also thought it was going to go one way, and then it went another. Like because I thought it was going to be lame and like, oh my god, now he's going to like come around and wake to his senses, and then just like, but how often do people actually do that in life of just like have like one thing happen and then they're automatically like, oh, I get it all right now,
And you see how like he was like really put at times you like him, you're rooting for him, then you're like, nope, this guy's actually just a dick and a coward, and then he like shows up in a big way somehow, but then he like lets you down again, which is a realistic way for most people. It's like not everybody's always great. Some people are just like, I just want the easy path.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we got with A-Train. But like I don't even know who. Obviously, Homelander's performance and Homelander's played by Anthony Starr. Yeah. I think you can easily put him up there as like one of the best TV villains ever. Like he's oddly likable, but you could tell he's like a terrible person. And Anthony Starr plays his character so well. I mean, it's incredible. I love his performance. I loved as much as I'm not a big fan of like this particular like actor's work. That sounds bad, but I think Jack Quaid did a great job in his role as well.
I don't like Jack Quaid. That's a weird dude not to like, or that to have even an opinion on.
He just seems like a bit like, even in this show, like sometimes he just seems like a bit plain. Like he's just like in
that's
the weeds,
the whole point of his character.
Sure, but I've also seen this with like him in like other movies and shows, or I think other movies I've seen him
well
in.
Cast.
Maybe. But either way, I think in this show, I think he did a great job at like making me believe like he is this character, like he is Huey Campbell. And again, that's just to mention just a few. I think Kimiko Mayashiro, who plays Karen, Kimiko is her character. It's played by Karen Fukuhara. Great performance. I love Tomer Capone as Frenchie. I love Laz Alonso as Mother's Milk. This show did a great job at making you believe these characters and like writing great character story and having them all blend and make sense like towards a cause.
And how it all sort of like came together, right? They kind of broke up the squad a little bit, between basically with Starlight.
Yep.
And then you had Butcher, and so Butcher and Huey. basically were like, hey, we're gonna get and I, again, like I love the built storyline of, especially of Huey, of just like, here he is unable to, like, basically seemingly like affect anything around him, right? Like there's all these like superheroes and they're just doing whatever the fuck they want, and he finally has a chance to kind of even the playing field, and of course he goes for it, and of course he gets drunk off of that power, and the whole idea of his character is that instead of being okay with being sort of the support character, he's like, no, I want to be the main character, but it's just like, that's not everybody's role. And seeing his evolution in that was actually pretty good. I thought I got a little bit cheesy there with the last, thing where he helped Starlight, at least the way they shot it. I respected the storyline, but it was the way that they shot it that I was just like, all right, this is kind of lame.
It was a little bit cheesy, but
it is what it is.
It was still fun to watch. It's like, he was very like present and aware of like what he could do to help without like getting in the fucking way.
Exactly.
Because there's no way he was going to fight Soldier Boy.
Well, he could have used some of that compound V and then, disappeared him. Which
he
is
could have
always
just
hilarious.
Taken him to like fucking like the middle of the ocean.
Yo, I don't get why they don't do this with Homelander. I don't get it. Like, so can't the Congress, or I guess she wasn't a congresswoman, but the woman who could make people's heads explode. It's like, yo, couldn't she
could literally just explode his head
up? Or even like the expanding dude, the dude that like one of the first scenes of the season, where he gets really small, as like Ant-Man basically. It's like, well, couldn't he just do that same thing with Homelander? Of just go inside of him and then his body explode, or
go in his asshole and just blow him up.
There's other crevices that you could probably go into, but fair enough. We can start there.
That is a shitty one.
I see what you did there. I see what you did.
See it?
Yeah, I'm picking up what you're putting down. But it just seems like there's like other ways of like defeating Homelander, though. That he for as all powerful as he is, he's not really,
not all powerful. There's a lot. I feel like people are giving Homelander too much credit. Like, he can fuck some shit up, but there are a lot of other characters like throughout. I'm just thinking about like Marvel and DC who would fuck Homelander up left and right.
Yeah, for me, it's actually it's terrifying thinking of somebody like Homelander. So like, what if like superheroes were real, and there's going to be some percentage of them that are going to be like Homelander? And that is terrifying, because if he really fucking wanted to, like how he was just like, I forget who he was. I think it might have been Starlight that he was having a conversation with, where he's just like, yeah, you know what? I think I might just wipe the city out, like if you tell my secret, I think I might just, I'm not going to have anything else to hold on to. So fuck it. I think I'm just going to start killing people, and it's just like, and you think about it of just like how casual, and we get a front, especially here in America, we get a front row view of that, because that's how they act with guns, right? It's just that like, yeah, I'm just going to go to the shopping mall and just start letting loose, and just start killing people, and just how casual people act about it. It's absolutely terrifying to me.
That's what makes the show so great. It's like, this is one of the best, in my opinion, the best and most real depiction of like how flawed superheroes would probably actually be in real life.
Yeah.
We've gotten a ton of different TV series from Marvel, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and Punisher, and Daredevil. We've gotten all of those things, and in those shows, like, we've kind of always, except for Punisher, but we've mostly seen them like, these are superheroes, and they may stumble a little bit, but ultimately they rise to the occasion, right? Here in The Boys, we see superheroes like they're stumbling, and like they're not gonna like rise to the occasion. These are like bad people. They're gonna do bad things, and they have the power to do it.
Yeah.
And now we just got to figure out a way to stop them.
Yeah. And I love the whole idea of like, and they've always done this in The Boys, but like basically lifting from the headlines different aspects of the show. So like, you have Homelander, and again, if you're somehow listening to us and you're, you haven't stopped listening, if you haven't watched it yet, then that's on you.
It's your fault.
Spoiler alert. But where he kills the dude, it harkens back to when Trump said he could go on Fifth Avenue and just shoot somebody, and he wouldn't lose anybody. That was essentially exactly that scene for Homelander, or with how basically Homelander figured out, oh shit, like you mean I don't have to like just act prim and proper? I could just be a dick, and everybody's like, my approval numbers somehow still go up. You know, yeah, it's there. There's I both love and hate how frank they are with it. I love, all right, I hate the idea that they really are just airlifting this shit, but I love it in that they're not being like shy about it. You know what I mean? Because I feel like some shows, they try to be shy, some more subtle with, taking things from headlines, but the boys, they don't give a fuck. It's just they actually, like, it basically is the actual, whatever the thing is that happens. So whether it's January 6th or basically just all the right wing shit, that we find very terrible and distasteful.
It's like very on the nose with like social relevance, like where we are today. Like we can see a lot of the shit that's going on now in this show.
Yeah, for sure.
What are your predictions for season 4?
Okay. So the kid's definitely going to turn evil if he already hasn't. That's definitely going to happen. And so I think it's going to be a case where, Billy is going to be forced to kind of choose between stopping the kid and keeping his promise to Becca that, he'd keep the kid safe. And I think that if we're not approaching the final season of The Boys, I think the 5th season should indeed be the final season of The Boys. I don't think it should extend any more than, because I feel the story sort of rounding itself out. And there's only so many seasons of Homelander deboing people that, that is just going to be, it's going to get boring after a while, I really thought they were going to try to take his powers away, because it'd be really fucking interesting. Homelander without his powers would be so much more interesting than Homelander with his powers.
Yeah, because he's still gonna have the arrogance. He's still gonna have like that
with
bravado,
none of the fucking power.
Yeah,
and to watch him try to still do shit without the powers, I think would be amazing to watch. So I think they might do that this coming season, and I would have to imagine maybe that's why they kept Soulja Boy around. I think we're going to see the crew kind of stick together this next season. I don't think we're going to see them get broken up like they did kind of like the past couple of seasons, but mainly this last 3rd season. I think we'll see them really for as much as they are a family. I think we'll see that in this coming season. What other storylines were there in season 3?
I mean, I think that what I'm really looking to see is like the fall of Vought, right? And obviously the season ended with that woman who has the powers to like explode people's head. She is now
VP.
running for VP, right? So now it's like now you have a soup in office, and I'm sure she's
not yet. They haven't won.
They're campaigning, but I feel like in season 4, what we might see is her now in office at like a very highly influential situation, working with Homelander. So I feel like that is probably going to be part of how Soulja Boy ends up getting like released again. And then it's like, do we kill him? Do we not kill him? And we make it this epic, the second epic battle between Soulja Boy and Homelander. Or everyone just realizes that like Homelander's, you can't control him. Like as much as you would love to use this tool, this weapon, you do not have the ability to control the thing. So now we need to take it down. Yeah. And then, I want to see the fall of Vought, and I'd love to see socially how they incorporate.
I don't see Vought ever falling, because I think that's the idea of Vought, is that Vought is perpetual, right? Because and if they're stealing from reality, that's reality, right? If Vought is a mixture of like Fox News and also, these private organizations that basically just do shit without our consent, right? So if you're looking at like Apple or like Facebook, or I guess what is now Meta, like basically those things are like perpetual. Like they won't go anywhere because they make the rules, and there's just enough people who back them in terms of the ordinary people that they really never have to really worry about, quote unquote falling or anything like that. I think we want it to fall, but I think if it's stealing from reality, I think it will Vought will go on. I don't know in what capacity, but it'll go on forever.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think they can go in a lot of different directions in season 4. To be honest, I don't care what direction they head in. I'm here for it either way. I just hope it doesn't take like 2 years to get that next season out. So
Yeah.
I'd love to see this hit in like 2023.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll see. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to dude. I don't know. Do we want to do the trailers, man? I am feeling tired tonight, dude. My eyes are glazing. What do we want to do? I'll let you call the shots. We got 3 trailers we could do. We've got a couple stories that we can get into. I'll let you call the game.
Let's wrap it up with let's take a look at the Lord of the Rings trailer, and then I want to talk about this Constance Wu thing.
Yeah.
And then we can wrap it up with that.
Sounds good. All right, let's take a look at Lord of the Rings. I'm not even going to do a little fucking intro into it. We're just going to jump right in that bitch.
There was a time when the world was so young. There had not yet been a sunrise. But even then, there was light.
Call to me, lands far away.
Elves have forests to protect. Dwarfs their mines. Men their fields of grain. But we Harfoots have each other.
For I must now wander this wandering way.
We're safe.
You have fought long enough, Galadriel. Put up your sword.
The enemy is still out there. The question now is where?
It is over.
You have not seen what I've seen.
I have seen my share.
You have not seen what I have seen.
Darkness will march over the face of the earth. It will be the end, not just of our people, but all peoples.
I am sorry, but their time has come.
The past is with us all. The past is dead. We either move forward or we die with it.
This could be the beginning of a new era.
Away I must wander this wandering day.
This looks good, man. You know, I think Amazon Prime, I think they're doing some really good stuff here. I mean, obviously The Boys is an Amazon property, right? And, you know, this looks like the show that might rival the upcoming House of Dragons the best, right? So it's like, when does House of Dragons release? That's coming out soon?
I believe so. Give me 1 second. I can find it for you.
So it's going to be like, you know, what is your taste, right? Are you Game of Thrones? I'm sorry, are you House of Dragons? Or are you Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, House of Dragons comes out August 21st of this year.
And this is dropping...
pretty soon as well. This is dropping September 2nd. So literally almost like a month apart.
Yeah.
Actually,
so
less.
We're gonna,
it's like 2 weeks apart.
In a very short period of time, we're going to
bug?
get... So I'm trying to find my charger here. So my computer doesn't die.
Oh, shit.
That would suck.
Yeah, go ahead and plug that shit up. I'll stall for you.
I got it. So in a short period of time, we're going to get like the return of 2 big franchises. We're going to get House of Dragons. We're going to get this here. And I hope that I can kind of watch them at the same time to see like which, not necessarily compete, put the two against each other, but just get a flavor of like, which do I like the most? Which storyline am I tracking? Like, which one is more visually stunning? Which one has the better storyline, the better casting? It's going to be fun to. I love Lord of the Rings. I also really enjoyed love Game of Thrones. So I'm happy that these two things are coming back roughly around the same time. You get a chance to like get a taste for both of them.
Yeah, for sure, dude. I thought that trailer was fucking awesome, man. It really does kind of take you back. Now, what will be interesting to see is that like the first the Lord of the Rings trilogy came out early 2000s. We're saying 2001, I think, 2002, somewhere around there is when the Fellowship of the Ring, and then the Two Towers, and then the Return of the King. When those all sort of came out, is around the same. It was like 2 or 3 year span that they all came out. Clearly, there's a lot that has progressed in terms of the technology that's used to do certain things. And so I wonder how this is going to rival that, because this is a series versus being a full-fledged film, but it seems like they might have more opportunity, more ability to do some things that they weren't able to do with some of those earlier films. Even thinking back to The Hobbit that came out more recently, so from that trailer, it looks good, man. It looks really, really good. Like in terms of how they aesthetically sort of make everything look and feel. It feels like we're right back there with Lord of the Rings. Now, this particular story takes place thousands of years before The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. So there won't be any like fucking, Frodo's not going to pop up anytime soon, unless they're digging into some time traveling shit. But I love that they're trying to tell like different stories than the stories that we've known, because it's like, you can only milk a cow for so much milk, there's only so much milk you can get out of that same cow. So I feel like you still, there is something left in these properties in terms of the name of the properties, but in terms of the same characters, it's like, let those characters be, man. Like, let Frodo be, let fucking Smeagol or whatever the fuck his name is, let him be, there's
a lot more story to tell.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the same idea I have for Game of Thrones, the House of Dragons, as well. It's just, tell some new shit, or just some different shit than you haven't told. Although I will say I'm very much looking forward to that guy Jon Snow coming back with his series, which they announced not too long ago. Did we talk about that, or I might have talked about that with Addy?
I think we may have mentioned it shortly, but we all know Kit Harington returning as Jon Snow in an upcoming HBO series spinoff of Game of Thrones. Not much could go wrong there, I imagine, as long as you don't like fucking try and reinvent the wheel and do some new weird shit.
Bring the fucking Night King back. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I don't get anybody. The Night King's nephew.
Yeah. The second in command.
I was gonna make a Ricky Martin joke, but
chill.
Probably shouldn't.
No. Yo, fam, chill. We still want to have a show. We still want to have a show.
We don't end up in prison.
So that's the Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power, due out in September of this year. You said you wanted to talk about Constance Wu. Let's do. Oh, Jesus, no, I didn't want to do that at all. There we go. So yeah, let's talk about it, man. So for those who don't know, Constance Wu, who is an actress, or I guess was an actress, because I'm pretty sure Fresh Off the Boat is not. I'm pretty sure that's done. I might be.
Yeah, I think this was like a sitcom she was a part of back in like 2019. That I think at the time had gotten renewed, and she was on the sitcom, but she did not want it to get renewed.
Yeah.
If I'm correct.
Yeah, that's essentially what happened. So let me read a little bit of an article here from Variety. So Constance Wu returned to Twitter for the first time in nearly 3 years to announce her new book, Making a Scene, and to reveal she attempted suicide following the backlash that erupted against her in 2019. Social media was outraged at Wu after she expressed frustration over her ABC sitcom, Fresh Off the Boat, being renewed. She says, "I was afraid of coming back on social media because I almost lost my life from it 3 years ago when I made a careless tweet about the renewal of my TV show. It ignited outrage and internet shaming that got pretty severe." Wu writes in a statement, "I felt awful about what I said, and when a few DMs from a fellow Asian actress told me I'd become a blight on the Asian American community, I started feeling like I didn't even deserve to live anymore. That I was a disgrace to ASAMs and I guess Asian Americans. And they'd be better off without me. Looking back, it's surreal that a few DMs convinced me to end my life, but that's what happened. Luckily, a friend found me and rushed me to the ER. Yeah. So for as you were alluding to, so basically back. So Fresh Off the Boat, which is a show that she did with I believe John Cho. I believe that's his name. I'm pretty sure that's his name. Yeah, it was ABC. ABC. No, it wasn't John Cho. That's incredibly fucking like racist.
That's Randall Park.
Randall Park. I don't know why the fuck I said John Cho. That completely different dudes. Yeah, terrible. That's like the equivalent of me saying like, you mean, that guy,
Forrest Whitaker and Denzel?
Yeah, like two couldn't be further apart. But anyways, so she did the show and the show got picked up and then went, I'm trying to find her original tweet.
I think in the original tweet, she's basically just like, so I think it's right here. She says, so upset right now. I'm literally crying. Fuck. And then another tweet, like, fucking hell. And then a user tried to like congratulate her online. She said like, oh, that's great news. And her response was, no, it's not.
Yeah.
And the reason why this was so troubling for her was like, she had to turn down essentially a passion project because she was under contract essentially to start filming the new season of Fresh Off the Boat.
Yeah. And what's amazing about it is that like, again, people act as if celebrities aren't people. Right. And so I'm sure that there are people out there who can relate where basically something seems like a great opportunity that you should be grateful for having, but that great opportunity prevents you from doing other shit that you'd actually rather be doing. And for people just to kind of just not really give her at least some benefit of the doubt there and say, look, we don't know your life. Yes, she's, starring in a hit TV show, but she's a fucking person she has to go to work like everybody else, right? Like that's a job. It's not just like this fucking thing that gets, fucking bestowed upon you and is like, oh, you are now the lead of a show.
Yeah.
And it's like divine intervention or some shit. It's a job. It's something that you got to fucking.
You don't just get paid. Like there's a lot of work that you have to do behind it.
Yeah, and so anyways, so she got the blowback from that, and then that sort of led her to potentially take her own life. If it wasn't a friend first. Yeah, man. The only thing I really have to say about this, man, is that we as humans, especially here in America, man, like we look at bullies as the other, right? That other people are the bullies, but in reality, man, we're all fucking bullies, dude. And I understand that there's other forms and factors of bullying that's different from online, conversations and things like this. I get it, but also it's just like we look at certain people as if they're not human, and when we dehumanize people is when we feel like we can do whatever to them, and it doesn't matter. They don't have fucking feelings,
Yeah.
And that's what this thing brings to light. And again, like that's why I brought up the Caroline Flack thing earlier. Is that like we look at them, they're on TV, their hair is done, their makeup's done, their fucking, their outfits are always great and yada, yada, or that they're, telling these stories that we appreciate. And that sort of desensitizes us to actually treating them like people who have issues, who have problems, just like the rest of us, man. That's what's amazing to me is that, anyways, I know I'm rambling, but like, it's disappointing how we can look at somebody like Constance Wu and think that like when we, there's DMs and messages that shit doesn't actually affect them, that it's just like, oh, that just gets, it rolls off the shoulder just like anything and they just go about their days. Like, no, some people actually fucking live with that shit, and
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we talked about it earlier. I think it's shameful that there are people who will, just because they don't like your work, like you don't have to always like the shit that I do, but don't attack me for it. Just don't watch it. And it really is that simple. Like if you don't like what I'm saying, like change the channel, watch something else. But to go on and attack an actor or an actress or just anyone in general because they shared an opinion that you do not agree with, that's shameful. And this is why I can't wait for the day when like there's accountability on social media where people have to be able to say like this is who I am, this is an actual picture of me. And if they do attack someone, then it's like they can be held accountable versus hiding behind fake accounts and so on. But I do think there's another side of this that I did appreciate that she said, and it was her comment saying that looking back, it's surreal that a few DMs convinced me to end my own life. But that's what happened. And then she talked about how she had a friend who helped save her. And I think that's very important too. I understand that depression and sadness is a thing where for a lot of people, like it's uncontrollable. Like you cannot control how you feel. You can't control the sadness. And it's not just a matter of waking up one day and be like, oh, I'm not going to be sad or depressed anymore. I'm going to be happy. But I do think it's important to like just continue. And it's like mind training, right? You have to tell yourself every day, like I'm valuable, I'm worthy, I'm capable, like I'm loved. And be kind and like train your brain to see value in yourself, right? So that, a tweet or a DM like is not strong enough to cripple you because you know that, like that's just someone's opinion. That is not a reflection of who I am as a human being.
Yeah.
But I can keep going forward.
It's tough though, man.
It is tough. It's very tough. It's a lot easier said than done for sure.
Yeah. Like, because when you're in sort of this state, it's like, sure, that like sounds reasonable, right? But it's just like anything else is like, if you go to the supermarket, somebody says something while you're in line and it pisses you the fuck off and you just react in that moment, it's so easy to be like, yo, Rain, like, why didn't you chill the fuck out? Like, yeah, that person says something, all right, they're fucking stupid. Let it go, versus, but it's like, but you react in that moment because maybe you're dealing with some other shit. And then that was just a triggering thing for you, like it's, when you're dealing with some sort of not even just mental health issue, but when you're just dealing with life, period, it gets tough to try to regulate yourself all the fucking time. Not to mention if you are more in the public eye and it feels like an avalanche. It could feel like the entire fucking world is against you in that moment, even though that's not the reality. But it can feel like, dude, like even putting out some of the minimal amount of work that I've put out, man, seeing that one person's comment, that offhand comment like this sucks or, whatever. It's just like, man, all right, well, fuck you, even though all the other comments are great, and are nice and encouraging, that one comment that'll be like, this sucks, you're an idiot, you still, like even on this show, right, we get tons of comments all the time, people say you guys don't know what you're talking about. All right, well, but every now and then that comment kind of gets to me a little bit of just like, well, fuck, man, fuck you create your own goddamn podcast, and have people give feedback about that, so it's tough. For
sure. It's definitely tough. It's not it's not as black and white as it may seem. It's not as black and white as just telling yourself every day, like I'm great and I'm just going to keep going forward. Sometimes it does get to you. Yeah. I think for me, I know what works for me is just constantly reassuring myself that like this mistake that I made or this day does not define the quality of my entire life or my existence. And it sucks. It may hurt. So I may be like sad or down, but I'm always going to get back up. And like a lot of it is training your mind to see and hear like the good and to be resilient versus subjecting yourself to like carrying the weight of all the criticism and the negativity, Like you can have your bag full of either one. You can be carrying the heaviness and the toll of like criticism and comments that people make about you and other people's opinions, or you can carry the weight of like, the positive things that you really want in your life. Yeah.
Completely unrelated note. When are you getting your psychology degree? You're taking courses right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yo, I've been watching lots of YouTube videos. And I am going to be social media certified in fucking counseling. And I'm going to be a fucking, what is that career that everyone wants to do now? I want to be like a life coach.
Yeah, life coach. Fair enough. Yeah. Who doesn't need a life coach? Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of our fucking podcast. I want to get the fuck out of here. It is hot as balls in this room right now. So I'm going to be out. We will be back next week. Same time, same place. Until then, we'll see y'all's later. Take care of yourselves out there. Take care of your mental health, man. Go talk to somebody if you're feeling that type of way, man. Go do something, because just like any other part of our well-being, whether it's physical or just doing something that makes us feel nice, you got to take care of yourself, and that means if you're feeling a type of way, go talk to somebody, man. It's really important. Almost nothing is worth trying to like take your own life or do something crazy like that. So yeah. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I think we will be hitting the very usual protocol. The goddamn music still not playing.
Not timed up.
Yeah, it's fine.
No worries. Right. We're still going to hit the usual protocol. Fade out, ladies and gentlemen.
Peace. Out. In silence.